down and die, oh not I will survive, yeah, as long as I know how to love, I know I'll be alive. I've got all my life to live, I've got all my love to give. I will survive, I will survive, yeah, yeah.
Welcome to Survival Tips. I'm here today with Liz Benjamin, who you might know from Capital Tonight on YNN, which is shown all around the New York metropolitan region through Albany.
Yeah.
So, but we today are not going to be talking about politics, because today we are in Catskill Mountain Sport in New Paltz, New York, which is pretty close to the start line of the SOS Triathlon. And in fact, Catskill Mountain Sport is one of the sponsors of the SOS Triathlon, so they are very close to this race. So this is a great place, and of course, any gear that you might need for the race, you can come down here and pick up any time leading up to the race. So, Liz, this is going to be your first time racing the SOS.
Yep.
How do you feel about that?
Terrified.
This is not your first triathlon, though.
No, it's not. I've done 3 halves. I've done New York City a bunch of times. I've done a couple sprints. So yeah, I've done this for about 4 or 5 years now, and I've always wanted to do this race because I grew up here. And one year I was injured, the next year I didn't get in. It's a very popular race, as everybody knows. It's hard to get in. So yeah, this year is going to be it. Don Davis was kind enough to help me out. So I am here I am, and I'm very nervous.
And even being on TV live every night, this still makes you nervous.
Yeah, this has there's no translation between that and this. This is about pushing yourself physically to the limits. It's not about trying to put some politician on the spot. It's totally different.
So today we're going to be putting you on the spot, because today's episode is going to be about the exact thing that you're dealing with, which is what advice can we give to people who might be doing this race for their very first time. So today's Survival Tips is geared towards first-timers, tips for first-timers. The way we're going to do this is we're going to let you ask as many questions as you want, really, and we'll probably edit that down, of course. 5 or 6.
Right.
YouTube has a limit. But we'd like to hear some of your questions about what you might be nervous about for your first time doing the SOS, and we're going to have those answered by some of our SOS experts.
Okay. So you guys did a really great job, actually, with your first video. I think the first question every newbie has is, where am I going to put my shoes? And you guys did an awesome job with that video, so I'm going to skip that one. I think that the swim is particularly concerning, so my first question is about the swim. Do you want me to ask it to the camera?
Sure. Question 1.
Question 1. So I've heard that the lakes are really cold, and that you're going to come off the bike warm, you do that run, and you're going to get into the lakes, and I hear that cramping is something you just can't avoid. So I'd like to have some tips about what I should do when I cramp. I'm assuming I'm going to cramp. And if I cramp in the water, or if I cramp getting out of the water, what should I do? So that's my number 1 question.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mike Alstead. I'm here to tell you a little bit about cramping in the SOS. I'm a 19-time finisher. I think I've cramped up in just about every muscle possible during SOS. Usually happens with me in Owasting in the first swim, and usually happens in my legs, my calves, or my hip flexors. So try to swim without using your legs much. You slow down a little bit, but you know, if you feel a little twinge coming on, then you maybe back off on the kicking a little bit and try to get through it. Cramping also happens to me a lot as I'm getting out of the lake, trying to put my shoes back on. So my advice there is to sit down, or either find a rock where you can put your foot up on the rock so that you can get your shoes on better that way. Usually happens in the swim. It can happen in the run a little bit. With that, you know, you've had cramps in the run before. You got to get through that. I guess the biggest advice is to practice it. Practice bike, do a short bike hard, do a short run hard, and then jump in and do your swim. And you'll experience the cramps, and hopefully you'll be able to get through it on race day. So good luck, have fun.
Number 2 is a question about gear and shoes. What shoes should I wear to do 18 miles with wet feet, coming in and out of the water with the shoes that I'm going to put in my suit? And should I wear socks? I think that's a big one. I really want to avoid blisters. I'm hearing that maybe that's not going to be possible, but I'm hoping. So there's that. And if there's something I should put on my feet, I want to hear about that too.
Hello, I'm John McGovern, the owner of Catskill Mountain Multisport and a 4-time SOS Triathlon finisher. The years I don't race the race, I serve as the head draft marshal at the race as well. As far as I'm concerned, it's the best race on the planet, so I want to be at it every year, whether I'm racing or volunteering. Liz asked about what running shoes to wear in the race and whether or not to wear socks. Socks, the simple answer is no, don't wear socks. They're going to get wet, they're going to be heavy, they're going to cause blisters. You have to pass through the 3 lakes and carry all your equipment from start to finish, so you definitely don't want to have socks. If I was racing this year, I would probably go with the Saucony Hattoris, the ones that I'm wearing now. They're ultra lightweight, they're easy on and off, and what's nice about them for this race is they can flatten out, so you can get them into your shorts. Another good shoe for a race like this would be these triathlon specific shoes by Zoot. They have drain holes, which is good because they're going to be wet, you're going through the lakes, but they'll drain out nicely. They have an integrated sock, so you don't have to worry about seams or a sock which you're not going to wear in this race, and they do have the quick release laces which allow you to get in and out of them, which you're going to be doing frequently throughout the day, quickly. And again, easy to transport. They might not flatten out as much as the Hattoris or the K-Swiss Karus. Again, this is an ultra lightweight racing flat. You're not going to get a lot of support, but it's a race. You want to go as quickly as possible. The trails themselves are not that difficult. They're mostly groomed carriage trails. There's a lot of up and down, but there's not a lot of technical footing that you need to worry about. So I would recommend any one of these 3 shoes because they're lightweight, they'll drain quickly, and they'll fit in your shorts.
Okay, question 3. Again, because I hear that the water is very cold, I'm curious if I should wear a wetsuit. I've been hearing some conflicting remarks about wetsuits. So if I wear a wetsuit, what should I do with the wetsuit? And is the wetsuit actually beneficial enough that I won't be cramped, which would be great.
Hi, I'm Don Davis, the founder of SOS, and I've been doing SOS since 1984, or 1983 actually, unofficially. And I've done it in a Speedo, and I've done it in a tri-suit, and I've also have done SOS wearing a shorty wetsuit when the water was cold, and I found that wearing a shorty enabled me to run, and if it was really hot, I would take the top and roll it into the bottom, and I was able to run quite comfortably. So you really can do SOS comfortably in a shorty wetsuit, or if the water is warm, you could do it in a tri-suit. Either way, it's enjoyable.
Question 4 is about pace. Since I'm a first-timer, I just want to finish, really, and I want to feel as good as possible at the end. I know it's going to hurt, but I'd really like to have something in the tank left to do that last climb. So I'd like to know about pace. How hard should I push myself? Where should I push myself? Should I not push myself at all? And how should I be feeling at various points in the course so I know, yeah, I am going to live through this one? So that's question 4.
Hi, I'm Alex Sherwood, Recreation Director at Mohawk Mountain House, 11-time finisher of the SOS Triathlon, 2008 SOS champion, aka fastest finisher, or so the bag says. The question concerning pacing it, SOS. My suggestion with pacing has always been the bike isn't where you're going to win it. The bike is a spot to make sure you warm your body up, take in some of the really amazing scenery that's there on the course. And as you get to about, say, mile 15 or 20, you should be in a pretty good rhythm by then, but not too hard, because that last 5 miles of the bike certainly is going to wake you up if you haven't already done that. As you get to about maybe mile 28 or so on the bike, start to gear down a little bit more, start thinking about that first run. Because the first run is also not a spot where I feel that putting out too much effort is real important. I think it's more about making sure you get some nutrition in, and you really start to focus and think about what your day is going to be like. It's also where you start to assess yourself. So enjoy that first run, and then get in the water and hopefully avoid as many cramps as possible. But at the same time, take in the magic that is Lake Awasting. If you don't do that, you're cheating yourself. And then shortly after that swim is where I think the race really, and the pace will begin to pick up. The second run, the first 2.5 miles roughly are uphill. And I think that's where you really need to put a decent effort in, but not too hard. And right around that 2.5 mile mark on that second run, you'll reach the summit of Castle Rock. Once again, taking a view, taking some nutrition. And that's where I think you can start to open your legs up a little bit because you're going to have mostly downhill to the second swim. A good solid swim at Minnewaska, get you out of there safe and sound. Once again, grab some more nutrition. And from there, you've got 8 miles. And I think what I like to do is I break it into 2-mile increments and I keep stepping it up a little bit for each of those 2-mile pieces. So ultimately, 6 miles into that third run, you're getting in and around the Traps Bridge area. Once again, I'll grab some nutrition there, and I really am there. I'm opening it up, and basically some days you're hanging on there, other days that's where you, I think, find yourself hitting your stride. Ultimately, that'll bring you up to your last swim. Last swim is a combination of A, get through the water safe and sound, but B, it's also the spot where I think you're going to feel the most energy because you realize just how close you are to finishing survival of Shawangunks. So you get out there, the energy at the end at Mohonk, the crowd when you get out of the water is huge, and all the pacing practice in the world goes out the window because your first 25 to 100 meters you're going to try to run as fast as you can because everyone's screaming and yelling and screaming and yelling, and then somewhere about 50 meters up reality sets in really fast, and either your legs are working or they're not, and that's where you sort of do that full out high heart rate shuffle to the top, but as soon as you make that last sort of step, you're about 100 yards from the finish, and at that point I guess pacing doesn't matter so much, just so you look good going across the finish line, kind of like Mike and Keaton. So that's what I'd say for pacing.
Question 5 is about where I should put the gear that I need to have with me. I understand, regardless of whether or not I'm going to have a suit, I need to have a cap and I've got to have goggles. These things are mandatory. I can't really swim without them. Got to run 18 miles with them too. So should I put them on my neck? Should I stuff them in my shorts? What's the best way to keep track of that stuff?
Hi, I'm Dr. Mike Alstead, here to talk some more about SOS and where to keep your gear while you're running. Mostly we're talking about your swim goggles, your swim cap, and maybe some sort of nutrition. I know some guys will put the goggles around their neck. I don't like that, but I know it goes all right. I usually take off my swim cap, I stick the goggles inside the swim cap, and I usually stick it down in here or in the back of my suit. I know girls will stick it like underneath the straps of their bathing suit up in here somewhere where it won't bother them running too much. It's a very well catered race, so you don't really need to carry too much nutrition stuff, but if you got it, same thing. If you're wearing a one-piece suit, there's usually pockets on the sides or in the back. Those are good for stuff like that too. I usually do, as I'm in the last mile of the run approaching a lake, I'll put my swim cap on and put my goggles on my forehead so that I can get ready as quick as I can to get into the next lake. Good luck.
Question 6, and this is a pretty big one. What happens if I get lost?
Hey, I'm Alex Sherwood, Director of Recreation at Mohonk Mountain House and 11-time SOS finisher. What do you do if you get lost at SOS? The good news is you won't ever get lost. With the race, it has over 200 volunteers. The course is super well marked both on the bike, runs, and the swims. If you're out in the woods and you do get lost, your best bet is to probably stop. If anything, maybe go back a little bit, but always just look for the neon SOS signs, which are going to be all along the way.
My top 6 questions, but I have like 100, so I don't think you really want to do them all.
No, well, we really don't have that kind of time. Liz, I hope those answers made this race a little less daunting for you. It's tough, but now you know you can do it.
Right.
So I hope for all you other first-timers out there, you also got a little something out of the questions that Liz had, and I hope these were some of the same questions that you were thinking. And I also hope that when you see Liz on Capital Night on TV, you will realize she's not only a talented journalist, but also a survivor of the SOS Triathlon. So thank you very much, Liz, and I'm sure you're going to get some gear here for the race.
That's my plan.
And we will see you at the finish line.
Yeah, I hope so.
And we will see all of you at Skytop.